That must be Matriarch's mercy. Sure think a lot of their royal family, don't they? Damn, what was that? There ain't been active fighting here in I don't even know how long. We got bases down there. If one of them got hit, then that strike will be the first of many.
Stay vigilant. Report any suspicious activity to your nearest station warden. The plan can wait. Our lines will not. Good subjects arrive 15 minutes early to avoid missing their tram.
This station must have really been something before the war made its home here. If things escalate, might never be something again.
Attention passenger. You are running 21,027.5 hours late for your tram. Please be mindful of your departure in the future. Your patience is commendable, passenger. Please continue waiting quietly until the next tram arrives. This is your 2061st reminder. All personal items with you at all times.
Multiple signs of habitation observed. Helpful tip. Agents are advised against touching stains of questionable origin.
We got an appointment to keep at Matriarch's Mercy. Let's just hope we don't get shelled too.
Welcome to the Order of the Ascendant. Relax. Your future is in our hands. You cannot possibly do the right thing today without knowing what will happen tomorrow. And the Order of the Ascendant will predict tomorrow's.
Please, somebody help us! Anybody, please! Finally, some help. We desperately need aid. Desperately. My family and I, we was making our way to the Mercy Camp for us refugees. We were set upon. My wife, my son were injured. Can't move them by myself. I had to leave them just past this tunnel so as I could go for help. But being alone is even more riskier. The Varachnids, I chased them off, but they'll be back. Please help us. Ain't nothing I can do for them, but you got weapon and medicines and can get us to the camp. Please. I don't... Vary, by my guess. She was bit on the thigh, high, like, can see bone. Or maybe white means infected? She's screaming all the time when she's awake. Then she goes to sleep. She in agony. And my son ain't waked since the attack. Hurry, please. We must hurry, or they'll be eaten. Or worse. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, this way. This way.
Emergency protocol syringes primed. Fortifying team escape. Health benefits available at your request.
You're looking pretty scathed, Commander.
Mind the needles.
Looking a little woozy there, Commander. Anyone else? Here, a medic? refugees, looks like. And after that strike, there'll only be more at the gates.
Another refugee? Just a moment. Allowing anyone into Matriarch's Mercy unprocessed will upset the precarious ratio of refugees to aid. We should have an opportunity for placement in approximately 7.85 days, presuming no unforeseen alterations. I seem to recollect one matching your description set for arrival. Pardon my slowing your ingress. It has been rather hectic of late. Welcome to Matriarch's Mercy. Rule number 1, no crowding. Rule number 2, avoid the exclusion zone. Our seer has predicted non-specific imminent danger. I thought the name was self-explanatory. Our seer predicted that a corner of the encampment is in terrible danger. Danger from what? Or when? Unclear. Stay away from it, and, in all probability, you won't have to find out. Not at present, but according to our predictions, the creation of a third rule is likely, if not inevitable. Our predictions spring from the universal equation, the very numbers that guide the stars. Only a fool ignores probability, and we don't suffer fools around these parts. Safety and probability are incompatible. Eventually, nowhere will be safe, including here. That's enough questions. Keep the line moving. You need anything, talk to Seer Wiley. He's in the lift building, straight through the settlement.
I remember this place before the war. Functioning tramiculars. Peaceful silence of the canyons.
I can't recall the last time this region was silent.
Algorithmic dissonance? And then we solve for the... apologies. Just catching up on a research assignment between queries. Yes? Did you need something? Typically, no. And it has been somewhat challenging focusing my concentration. The abbot felt a scientician operating in a conspicuous spot in the thoroughfare might be useful. An illustrative way for our guests to see how we operate. To show how the crabble patties are made, as it were. That is, if the meat preparation involved a 90-step rate formula and a conflux of polynomial equations. I am also on hand to answer queries by providing data supporting our actions. Though perhaps due to my central location, 89.74% of the time, I am simply asked for directions. I am sure they bear any inconveniences with grace and dignity. I mean, the statistical jump correlated to residents within Matriarch's Mercy has some pretty compelling numbers. According to data, life inside shows a notable uptick in key relevant quality of life factors. Longevity, access to medicine, potable water. Life outside sees increased risk of starvation, inclement weather, and hostile xenofauna. Yes, indeed. Numbers are really against you out there. We have diverted internal resources to better meet demand in key areas. And I'm pleased to say that's led to a statistically significant 2.7% increase in refugee satisfaction. But if my data remains unconvincing, I suggest you inquire with Provisioner Plotnik inside the lift building. Simply tell her Archivist Widmark approves brief use of her time. Then back to it I shall get.
Please be advised, this unit lacks pharmaceutic resources to provide medical care meeting Earth Directorate standards to populations exceeding 7.5 persons.
Oh, try not to get too close. My sinuses are stuffed up, my ears are backed up, and my guts are gurgling. I could burst at any moment. Every fluid from every orifice. So keep your distance. Don't want it, don't need it. I've gotten sick at least a dozen times since we set up camp. Why, last week alone, I caught hack lung, sprat tongue, skinny teeth, and a rare case of mortified skull emergence. Figured I might as well get used to being sick. So I'm practicing for my next disease. It's gonna be a nasty one. I think it's downright awful what's happened to these fine folks. But me especially. Sickness, malnutrition, spontaneous genetic disorders, it never ends. You too. Trust me, you don't want to catch this. Neither do I, for that matter.
Commander, you got a minute to talk? I got some thoughts on this situation with the refugees. The number of folks seeking refuge from the war is, well, it's beyond what I expected. And beyond what the Order is capable of handling, seems like. Andes may not be faring much better here, but we could at least find enough work for these folk to buy some food. I mean, we ain't gonna give up our cots for what could be the enemy. We're doing what we gotta do to keep our heads on our shoulders. It's a tough situation, that's all I'm saying. But if the Order can't even manage tens of folk at their doorstep, they ain't gonna manage much better should they win the war. But nothing's ever really free, is it? I went through this myself when Andy's Choice took over Tau Ceti. It took time to secure the merger, but once they did, we folk got the help we needed real quick. And all they wanted in return was the signing of an employment contract. Now, I ain't seeing any contracts in Matriarch's Mercy. So what is the Order actually gaining by doing this? They'd have to be evil to even think of them as such. And they'd have to be stupid to think that's a line nobody would cross. The Order doesn't strike me as either. Anyhow, if the Order is in fact helping these folk with no hidden aims, then, well, I'll be the first to admit that there might just be merit in what they're selling. Appreciate you hearing me out. Sounds like your old pal DeVries was in deep with the Order. Now, I don't know a whole lot about them, but I don't reckon fanatical is part of their employee code of conduct. And as you've seen, that kind of loyalty can pose a real problem to everyone else. But we'll track her down before it comes to a head. Don't you worry.
How long are we meant to stay here?
Ask the Order. I'm not in the prediction business.
Is a self-centered derivative take on the grand... Apologies, outsider. As a vicar, I am usually tasked with guiding non-order lay people, such as yourself. Lately, the abbot has tasked me with the education of the refugees in our care. You are, of course, free to stay to be enlightened by my lecture, but I don't need an abacus to predict your path lies elsewhere. Well, if it's in the displaced's best interests, I imagine I can find a moment. Yes, I reckon I do have my ear to the grimy dirt floor of Matriarch's Mercy. I hear what common lay people are saying, and the wide array of bodily noises they make. Suppose I, more than any other member of the Order here, connect with non-scienticians. I've begun daily lectures, including practical advice on efficiently planning their days. I frequently launch into extended orations on everyone's favorite topic, math, and meticulously expatiate on our sex origins in the most rigorously pedantic detail. Oh, dear. I got ahead of myself, didn't I? That's an occupational hazard around here. As I'm sure you've read in recent dissertations doing the rounds, education has proven to have a 13.7% increase in overall quality of life. I am single-handedly making a difference here, with constructive pointers on efficient scheduling, lessons on order history, plus some mathematics for a little added razzle-dazzle. Perhaps some other time we can debate the theoretical complexities involved. But I fear I must get back to my duties. These laypersons won't enlighten themselves.
Watch yourself if you intend to nose around that collapsed ramshackle. I swear, refugee settlements aren't what they used to be. Yes, technically a hut is meant to be only one story, because when you stack them, they tend to fall over. Happens a lot. People here need more room to breathe. Can't build in the walkways, can't set up in the exclusion zone, so they build up. Best they can, at least. Don't have proper building material or nothing. They just make do. After a while, the stacked up little huts they jury-rigged come tumbling down. Oh, you put that together, did you? Here, I thought I was being subtle. Yeah, people keep at it. What else choice they have? Order won't listen. Maybe if we interspersed our requests with numbers, they'd pay attention. Seems like all they care about sometimes. They're doing something, which is better than nothing, but not by much.
What you think about, you bring about. The only application for no less than 6 hours of uninterrupted rumination on the universal equation per day.
An ongoing prolongation of existence advisory remains in effect for all presently transiting the Golden Ridge region. Utmost caution is highly urged. Refugees attracted or targeted ambushment by desperate pharmaceutical-addled, chemical-dehanced societal cast-offs who have succumbed to a life of pilferage and plunder. Anti-security troops have been espied bivouacked in trenches crisscrossing the landmass. And although a ceasefire is in
Welcome. Have you come to bask in the Order's knowledge?
1,068.5 pardons, but my attention is presently 99.81% occupied, coordinating provisions and supplies for the displaced. Well, if the archivist said so, I suppose I can factor out a moment. As the assigned provisioner, I am responsible for coordinating the requisition and distribution of comestibles, medicinals, and miscellaneous vital supplies. The overwhelming majority of my time is dedicated to this, leaving only moments to see to the Order's needs in the settlement. But it is an effort I undertake with great relish. You may not have noticed, but the refugees do not want for food or medicine. With the great disruption that has occurred to their lives, one could hardly blame them. That they are fed and remain healthy is sufficient for me. The Order of the Ascendant is dedicated to the ascension of humanity. Our ultimate goal may not be reached in our lifetime. If I can help others in need today, I shall do so to the utmost extent of my abilities and resources. Appreciate you respecting my time.
What is it? I have 15 seconds of allotted time for non-specific discourse, so choose your words with expediency. Oh, new arrivals. Of an independent operative nature, one presumes. Did the abbot assign you to help? Yes. Unfortunately, you are the first to notice. Infrastructure requests from the displaced exceed present resource capacity. The mounting accumulation of prevailing desideratum is regrettably beyond us. Or beyond me, more to the point. I am simply one person, impossibly stretched thin, and unable to attend to the needs of the displaced. One priority concern stands out. Well, something of a dispute, really. One where my latest near-future prognostics report may provide some guidance. Tell me, what do you know of the exclusion zone? Excuse me, but the intricate dance of the cosmos is anything but shady. You see, the seer predicted that a calamity would befall the exclusion zone, warning that the barrier must not be crossed. But the ever-disruptive voice of the displaced is dead set on occupying the exclusion zone anyway, laughing in the face of certain peril. We don't know, and therein lies the frustration. The seer has augured death for anyone who enters the exclusion zone. Yes, you heard me right. Death. Furthermore, and I quote, "An outside mediator, having earned the confidence of both sides, has a high likelihood of clearing up an ongoing dispute. We can't have the voice of the displaced sowing disorder. Will you help us? Will you be our outside mediator, as was foretold?" I believe only in the cold, inconvenient mathematics of the cosmos. This will work. It must work. The first step is to familiarize yourself with every angle of the dispute. Talk to the people of Matriarch's Mercy. The displaced want the exclusion zone. We want it kept off limits. We can't both be right. Feel free to speak with the voice of the displaced herself if you aren't already acquainted. Any questions before you get started? I can tell you she's a rabble-rouser of the highest order. Still, she cleaves to her principles. That's something. You can find her outside, among her people, stubbornly defying an order barricade. Novice Seer Vicarage should have ample time to illuminate you on the Order's forecast modeling methods. He's just down the room from here. According to predictions, yes. Or at least, my interpretation of them. I am reasonably certain, more than usual, in fact. Many people around camp support or object to our methods. Speak to them, form your own opinion, and when you are ready, you will decide the fate of the exclusion zone.
defy the law. It's you. Oh, thank the architect you're finally here. I've scarcely breathed while hoping you'd come. I am in desperate need of your help. True, but the Order's predictions know you better than you know yourself. Recently, I had a rare opportunity to ask the Seer for guidance. He told me that a dashing outsider would answer my prayers. I feared the prediction was a fluke, but here you are, a dashing outsider standing before me. Where to begin? There are so many sick and wounded in Matriarch's mercy, and I have but 2 imperfect hands. I am but a humble general practitioner. What I really need are specialists, and the Seer predicted an outsider would find them.
Might have time to patch up 1 or 2 patients before we head out. I used to be a combat medic. A good one, too.
You also strike me as someone on the go. I need committed medical employees, not a freelancer. The Seer gave me a datapad with explicit instructions that I not read it, for my intervention could only throw probability into disarray. Now, take the datapad, with my thanks. How can I be of service? As a doctor, I'm appalled. We don't have enough beds or private quarters to separate people, so sickness is blazing an unhappy trail through the refugees. Of course, the Order keeps us well supplied with meds, but things will get worse as long as we're overcrowded. Yes, I can treat sickness as it arises. It would be leagues better to prevent it entirely. That means space to spread out. Since you asked, you can run this medicine to Horst Landing. Just don't shake the man's hand. He has a habit of coughing into his palm when he covers it at all. Since you aren't a refugee, I hope you understand that I cannot offer my goods free of charge, but my prices are fair.
Inspiring events, philosophical profundities. A vicar. A listener asks, why am I...
their subsidiaries and former superterranean The spread of this parasite included a corresponding rise in...
You're right. The universe does not...
Ah, I pleasantly anticipated this exact moment. My personalized order prediction and weekly prognostics report both mentioned encountering an unforeseen factor about now. I suppose that designation doesn't wholly apply to you, though, does it? Predicting future events is an imprecise science. Currently, that is. Well, then, I read that you'd have questions about our predictive methods, correct? We utilize a mix of proprietary research methods to gather as complete a data set as possible, and advanced calculations using well-honed models to effectuate it. None of us predict events with complete accuracy or absolute detail. We'd need to solve the universal equation to do that. Fortunately, we're all working very hard on that problem. The Department of Predictive Analysis provide weekly prognostics reports and personalized order predictions to help steer our followers' paths. More what to watch out for, advisement on adhering to the plan, forecasts of probabilistic dangers, elements of larger predictions made relevant to groups and individuals. The Department of Predictive Analysis is mainly populated by seers like myself, who represent the Order's most talented mathematicians. After years of study, some can predict events a few seconds or minutes into the future with reasonable precision. Others can estimate with up to 71.1% accuracy several months out. Of course, predictions have grown more difficult with the loss of the archive, but I am not to speak of that with an outsider. No offense. Unforeseen factors, random elements, anomalous outliers, incalculable variables, all of them can undercut the accuracy of our predictions. But as we close in on solving the universal equation, unknown unknowns will become known unknowns. Then finally, known knowns. You follow? Matriarch's mercy is brimming beyond capacity with those cast out by war. But we of the Order rise to every challenge and continually strive to better our guests' existence. Why I, for instance, have availed my predictive methods to our refugee neighbors in the area. There's nothing more practical than improving lives now, is there? We've offered the displaced access to our weekly prognostics reports and personalized order predictions. Engagement is admittedly rather low, but at least one member of the camp reports he has benefited from them greatly. One of our recent guests, Rollo Nast, has received multiple personalized order predictions. I believe he could speak to the effectiveness of our ways firsthand. If my own humble assertions are not enough, I trust his attestations would convince you, and perhaps other members of the displaced as well. I foresee you have much to do. I won't keep you. Adieu.
Additional casualties. Plotting Auntie's choice field researchers discovered that...
What happened to this place? Law. Matriarch's mercy is no safer than the trenches.
Look on the bright side. I predicted.
Look, I'm not with Auntie anymore.
Ugh. You ever cough so hard your ankles hurt? I'll try not to sneeze on you, but no promises. Law, finally. Real relief for my fake symptoms. Let's see it then. If it's all the same, I'll give it to someone in real need. I've got more practice ahead of me. Wouldn't want to spoil it by seeking treatment. You have my gratitude, stranger.
not going anywhere. Not a... Except for the fact that you ain't yelling and trying to eat me. I'd have pegged you as some sort of prosperous scrapper by the rough look you got about you. You do got a certain feral look in your eye, though. Okay. I give up. Tell me. May Huffstutler, formerly Auntie's Choice, Department of Invasive Marketing. Now, the voice of the displaced. That's what those in the Order call me, leastways. An unofficial sobriquet, likely meant as a petulant slight. On account I object. Louder. More often than the rest. Those of us ended up here have very little except needs. I turn those into demands for reasons of clarity and import. What little I understand, I actually sort of admire. I mean, from where I'm sitting, they hold the most potential. If only they worked harder to realize it. Because really, at the end of the day, ill intent and neglect feel pretty much the same. Happy as I am to make your acquaintance, I'm busy staking our claim over the exclusion zone, so if you'll excuse me. Oh, so that's how it is. You're the mediator that was foretold. Am I right? The Order wants us to believe that a catastrophe is coming to the exclusion zone at any second. Why? Because math told them so. Screw their predictions. We have people, displaced by war and disaster, in sore need of space. There's plenty of room to house them. Am I supposed to fall on my knees and thank the Order because something bad may or may not happen? Sorry. Not convinced. I honestly don't give the slightest whit about the Order's idea of math or whatever calculation tells them that a catastrophe may or may not occur. What does the administrant want? To shut me up? To discredit me? I don't know what the administrant's game is, but call me intrigued. Best thing you can do is introduce yourself around camp. See why we need the exclusion zones open. All right. You keep at it. When the time comes, I'll be ready to pit my reason against the Order's.
I've got your numeral. Keep moving. Where do we go now? Another refugee camp? Another colony?
I predict within 8.2
Ah, you must be the, Earth Directorate agent I was told to expect. Your punctuality is commendable. Allow me to welcome you to Golden Ridge. I'm afraid I've no refreshments available, but can I interest you in a customary debate over decidability? Yes, the presiding bishop sent word of your imminent arrival. However, due to our need for compartmentalization, she was scant on the details of your mission. That said, I've been instructed to assist you however I can. So, tell me, what brings you to Golden Ridge? Victor? Yes, Archivist Clemens. Quite the mind. Such encyclopedic knowledge of engineering. One could almost mistake him for an exemplar. Is he in some kind of trouble?
Victor Clemens, some kind of radical. What an absurd notion.
I must agree with my seer. I once watched Victor shed copious tears over a damaged datapad. It's difficult to imagine him capable of worse. And that may well be true. But our standard of proof within the Order is not normally met by hearsay alone. Victor's currently supervising highly experimental research at one of our labs to the northwest, the Enray Range, beyond the invaders' front lines. Unfortunately, you'll need to go through the decommissioned autonomous extractorium to reach it. That path is less than safe, so I advise caution. Besides the highly caustic Zeranium River and the Mantisaurs, we've also received reports of mad cultists in the area. It does make me wonder why Victor decided to stay. Victor is dedicated. Single-minded, one could say. I've always thought highly of his analytical skills as a researcher. Less so his social ones, perhaps. Loath as I am to admit it, there may be some merit to your worries over a conspiracy within the Order, whether Victor is involved or not. As my predecessor would remind me, denying unpleasant facts is not good science. I would be remiss if I failed to support an investigation. No doubt you heard of the recent attack launched on that Auntie's Choice base, Outpost Opportunity. It came from one of our facilities, the Zeranium Manufactory. But that facility is intended for research, not military action. I hate thinking an Order member responsible, but given the precision of the attack, it does suggest traitors in our midst. It would undoubtedly benefit both of us to root them out.
Respectfully, Scholar, given current tensions, should we really be trusting such a delicate task to this stranger? Would an internal review of our ranks not be more appropriate? Earth Directorate agent is just a title. I'd seek to know who you are beyond that bit of headline. Gambling is for those who lack an understanding of basic probability theory. I don't make wagers. I make predictions. Accurate ones.
I don't dispute the need for discretion, my friend. But the presiding bishop made the determination to send the agent to us. It's best we trust her calculations. Moreover, our situation is growing increasingly dire. I can't overstate my fears concerning this most recent attack ending the ceasefire and reigniting the war in Golden Ridge. One more thing. Your investigation into the traitors takes precedence. But if you could also render aid at Outpost Opportunity on our behalf, such a gesture might preserve the peace. Most assuredly not. It would eliminate the entire point of the ceasefire. Well, please convey that fact to whomever you speak with. I knew I could rely upon you. Ruth wouldn't have sent you otherwise. Here, take this writ of investigative inquiry. It'll grant you access to the manufactory. Seer Wiley and I will conduct our own inquest into these traitors you've mentioned erstwhile. We can compare notes once you've returned with your findings.
Yeah.
You have an abundance of valid options for your next mission. mission destination, Commander. N-ray range, Zeranium manufactory, or outpost opportunity.
Broke my nose.
Hope you appreciated how I bit my tongue back there with the abbot. Didn't want things to come to blows with civilians in the crossfire. Full of excuses for the attack, wasn't he? Could be that he's sincere. Or could be that he has his hands so full with keeping his community from falling apart that he missed a memo or two. Either way, I'm willing to stay my hand until we know the truth. If it were my folk buried under the rubble, I'd want to know for certain before acting. Besides, ain't nobody around here better suited for investigating than we are. I prefer doing my shooting after asking all the pertinent questions, Commander. While we're at it playing detective, we need to scope out opportunity. If there are any survivors, we ought to help, however we're able. I can only hope they had warning enough to run for cover. If they didn't, well, there's only so much basic training can prepare you for. Thank you, Commander. We should move on, unless you've got something for me? How personal are we talking? Couldn't say. I was in it all of 2 days before my graft started festering. Before that, I was an infantry medic. Our platoon was one of the first to touch down in Arcadia. I would have continued serving on the front line in an upgraded capacity, but, well, once the state of my graft became apparent, it was decided that parting ways would be best. My commanding officer, and the surgeon who performed the operation, I imagine. I wasn't lucid at the time. When I regained consciousness, I saw that my service pistol was gone, and a termination notice was in its place. I put 2 and 2 together. Law, that was a bad morning. Look, I knew dismissal was a possibility when I volunteered for the procedure. A successful graft is a boon, a failed one is a colossal liability. I'm a walking lesson in breakage. Oh, that information is outside my purview. I miss my platoon. Most of the time. I hope they're holding on okay wherever they are. Huh. If nothing else, they'll have Ortiz to keep up morale. I know the nonstop jokes from that bastard sustained me for weeks. Yeah, he's tough. He'll be all right. Of course I do. Can't help but wonder if I'm missed in return. Anyhow, I would rather return to the matter at hand. No use dwelling on those out of sight and out of mind. Right. If this new graft fails, you mean? Then I keep pushing forward till I can't anymore. You didn't see me when I first got out of surgery and came to Paradise Island. The fact that you and I met at all is a testament to Doc's skill. But suppose if her treatment doesn't stick, then maybe it's my time to go. You can only cheat death so many times. You know that as well as I do. Oh, I couldn't even tell you who that doctor was or where they're stationed. Grafting was a procedure in its infancy, see? So corporate like to keep things hush-hush. Can't say I like the thought of it. Could have been cut open in the middle of a cave for all I know. I'd rather not dwell on those moments, if it's all the same to you. What matters is the here and now. Fine by me? Well, like I said, we were both in the same unit. Me as a combat medic, him as a machine gunner. Everyone in my unit was from Tau Ceti, so we already had that in common. And we served on the front lines, which made us look out for one another that much more. See, most of us were laborers, and we just got our first real shot at something greater. We wanted to make a name for ourselves, and what better way to do that than become a hero? Our onboarders promised that if we demonstrated exceptionalism, showed initiative, that we'd get promoted quick, and our days of living in squalor would be far behind us. It ain't like they forced us to join up. We did that on our own, and it said in our contract that they could send us wherever we were needed. Can't complain if where we're needed is in a trench staring down the barrels of a minigun. I reckon that's a difference in perspective. We spent a week crouched in the same foxhole under aerial bombardment. Shared water one sip at a time by the end of it. Anyone would have been friends after that. I don't know if I would have made it out alive without him. Maybe I'll tell him that over a beer one day. Praise him in front of the whole saloon. Law knows he's got a thing for heroics. Better than I'd feared. Only had to bury 2 troopers and amputate 5 limbs. I'm thankful every day that the Protectorate can't aim for shit. He kept me clear-headed. Every so often there'd be a lull in the bombardments and I'd hear voices all across the field, calling out for aid, for mama, for death. Almost got my head clean taken off when I tried to scramble out of the foxhole the first night. I heard a call for help and moved on instinct. Damn foolish of me, really. Ortiz told me not to panic, to wait till he could provide cover, to just shout first aid instructions where I could. It was too valuable to fall in battle, he said. It was a rough few nights at first, knowing I couldn't help folk who needed it. And the reward for that torment was my life. I appreciate that, Commander. In any case, I'm only standing here because of a damn fine soldier who became my friend. I'll carry that knowledge always. Fine by me? Oh, come on. It's just a hobby. An obvious one at that. I picked up drawing from the grandpa in the domicile next door back in Tauceti. When I was a kid, he told me the best way to appreciate nature was to create some of your own and carry it with you. The notion's taken on a bit of a different meaning now with Auntie, but I reckon that Grandpa has the right of it. Want to know a secret? So do I. Don't get me wrong, they've done a lot of good. Modern medicine sure beats slathering plant matter on your wound. But there's something to be said for partnering with nature, not fighting for dominion over it. Vincent, he used to draw posters and ads for Spacer's Choice. He had style. Of course, that didn't last. Age caught up and his hands started failing him. Couldn't draw, couldn't lift heavy objects, could hardly walk without exerting himself. And in Tauceti, if you couldn't work, you didn't get ration cards. We shared what we could with him, of course, but what we got already wasn't much. Last day I saw him, he refused the half Saltuna can I tried to give him. Said it was him lending me his strength. He was gone the next day. We searched all over, then realized he must have wandered off into the wilderness, not wanting to be a burden. We never found him. Can't hardly open a tin without thinking about him now. So if you're wondering why I still hold a candle for Auntie's choice, after everything, it's because I know had Auntie arrived just 4 months earlier, Vincent might still be alive. It's been years now since I talked about it. He was a good man. He deserved better. So did the rest of us. Anyhow, ain't meaning to talk your ear off. Fine by me? Like ain't the word I'd use, even before I was itching to tear up my contract and set it aflame. Auntie gave me autonomy, gave me the choice to do more than just struggle to survive. They treated me better than my last employers did, and despite recent events, I believe in their mission. We can give folk here in Arcadia a better life. What, did you think I was born into it? How else do you grow a corporation to this size without doing outside recruiting? Take a look at what most systems offer, and what Auntie's Choice provides. Do the math. I'm just one of many who welcomed the chance to enlist with open arms. Of course, going from a life lived in squalor to one that rewards you on merit, it would send anyone's mind spinning. Now, do I got qualms with Auntie? Sure. But I'll tell you what, when she overthrew those Spacer's Choice bastards in Tauceti, my home system, That takeover was the best thing that ever happened to us, even if it took time to see it. But I reckon that's a tale for another day. That all you wanted to discuss, or... Fine by me? Not great. It was a mining colony under Spacer's Choice. Didn't have much, but my parents worked hard to ensure we had shelter and a warm meal every day. They're good folk. I love them. But I don't think they ever quite grasped how bad things were before Auntie's Choice came. They warned me not to join up, you know. Said we'd all get burned if we put too much stock in the promises of this foreign corporation. But I'd rather take a risk on them than be resigned to how things were. Our colony was isolated, which meant our Spacer's Choice overlords could do as they saw fit. Everyone lived in squalor, save for a select few. We were little more than workhorses. Those of us at the bottom only found joy with our families, our friends. But love alone can't get you through the toughest, darkest winters. I miss the sunsets, and my folks, though I know they're well taken care of nowadays. But that's about it. Most of my friends joined up when I did, so we took our community with us. Leaving my hometown itself, it was an eager farewell. No, not at all. But I ain't sure my folks oppose them now. They have good jobs and a roof that doesn't leak. The ones who didn't adjust, however, was our management. Some of them tried to cut a deal. Company secrets in exchange for an entry-level administrative role, and made it out okay. But most violently opposed the takeover, and that ain't hypothetical. Reckon a bullet in the gray matter was more palatable than being forced to the bottom rung. Says it all, really. Fine by me?
Can't say I'm fond of these lodgings.
Do you believe Arcadia shall ever return to how it... Do you believe Arcadia shall ever return to how it was?
I wish. Between the invaders, the order defecting...
Keep your behavior
no putting this
acceptable
back
parameters.
This journey's looking pretty good right about now.